So we got this thing stripped down pretty good. We got the seats I had mocked up, we got them pulled out. I got a buddy of mine coming to do some sandblasting on this chassis. So I tried to strip everything down where he could get to it pretty good, and that helped me out too, because I got to paint all that stuff. So I'm gonna let him, you know, just strip this chassis down anywhere where he can reach, and both these front and rear axle. Try to get most of the spray paint off that he can get off. This is, well, I was trying to steal a color from Rust-Oleum, so I think it's called Gloss Almond, if anybody's wanting to know what color that is. But anyway, he's gonna blast this chassis down a little bit and just get all the loose stuff off there. We're not going for full-blown like show truck, but I do want to paint the axles up pretty nice and and make it look good, you know, going down the road. The rears of these trucks are super weak. I mean, the frames, they're not crazy stiff. So anyway, when this hitch was on here before, it had like pretty much these two bolts back in here was the only thing holding this hitch on, and it had been pulled on the chassis and, you know, bent it down a little bit. So I just kind of heated it up, pull it back up. I got some 2" by 1/4 flat stock, and I plasma cut the holes out, you know, where the bolts would go. I boxed the rear of the frame in, as you can see, and I wanted something out here on the end of the hitch, because that's a lot of leverage, you know. I mean, if I hook a skid steer, or I hook anything to this thing, with these two bolts back in here, that's a lot of leverage pulling down on them. So I just went ahead and made these little brackets, and this, I mean, everything's grade 8, so I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think it'll be fine for towing my boat or a trailer or whatever. I went ahead and put the 4" exhaust on here. I just built my own hangers and bought one off a kit. I did put a muffler on this truck because I actually put a muffler on my dually as well. I don't want to hear it. Kind of why I got the kill mat in there, I want the truck to ride and drive like a little bit more modern vehicle. I don't want it to be like you riding a wagon around. So that's kind of what we're going for. So anyway, this is where we're at, and I will give you an update maybe after my blast guy leaves, and we'll see what that looks like maybe. So the guys left from sandblasting. This is the next morning, but man, they saved me a lot of time on sanding. So we found some boo-boos that had already been fixed before. This is where they pulled out a dent right here with a dent puller. There's some brazing and stuff going on up top. This bed's got like a ungodly amount of holes in it. So what my plan is with all these holes is I'm gonna ting them down, and I'm gonna take well, them I'm gonna have to weld from the outside, but all these ones that are up here on this bed where they had toolboxes bolted and they're cracked up or whatever, I'm gonna take a piece of sheet metal and pretty much flush mount it at the bottom and go ahead and fill that hole with weld to tie all that stuff together. I'll probably MIG this back, you know, MIG that back together and grind it down. All these holes along the top of this bed right here, I'm gonna get that. Chassis turned out pretty good. I should be able to paint, you know, some chassis paint right on that. These things, I don't know if anybody's ever painted these little louvers that are up on front of the windshield, but that is horrible to get sanded just right and to look good when you're done. So that'll look factory when I get it painted. The cab had a good bit of paint on the back of it. I want to say probably 3 layers. So they got the cab down to bare metal. Inside these door jambs I worked on a little bit on my own, but I mean, I sanded them with 80 grit, and I mean, I couldn't get them looking nothing like that. So I mean, the primer that I put in here is gonna just stick so good. Pet peeve is like when you change colors on these trucks and you open the door up, I mean, you see all these hinges and everything inside that door, and you can never sand or get all the grease off of these hinges. I mean, you pretty much got to paint them with some junk paint or something to make them look good. So I'll be able to paint these back factory, and it'll look like it came from the factory that way. So that'll be pretty nice. He worked on the axles a little bit. Like I said, I just wanted him to knock the loose stuff off the chassis. And I feel like he did that pretty good. These leaf springs aren't staying. I told him don't worry about the leaf springs. But it turned out pretty good. We're gonna paint them axles, the chassis. Like I said, I'm not pulling the cab on this truck. This is just a kind of a fun little build. Got some rollers, so wheels and tires that were on it, I don't think they go with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and sell them, and put that back in the funding for doing some other stuff with this. But we got both driver and passenger door primed yesterday, and remember I talked about all these holes. So all down this body there was a hole about every foot that held the body trim on. And what I did was I tack welded all that together, ground it with a slap disc, and then I went over the whole door with 80 grit and everything. Did my body work, a little bit of body filler, on top of where my grind marks were at and all that. Got them looking pretty good. The hood's sitting there primed too. This one turned out pretty good as well. So I already got these taped off. What I'm gonna try to do is just wet sand these doors down with some 400 grit. That's what I use on everything when I'm painting automotive style paint with. So I'm gonna wet sand these down with some 400 grit, get them slicked up, and I'll wipe them down, and I'll probably go ahead and paint them today. It's pouring rain here in North Carolina, so it'd be a good day to shoot some paint down and not have to worry about the dust. So stay tuned. I'm gonna try to get a video of some painting and stuff. I'm not necessarily gonna document sanding and just doing all the little stuff, but you get to watch me paint these doors and hood. We're back in the shop. I ordered 2 new fenders for this truck, and I got them both in, and they came from Hard Parts, wherever, somewhere they had them. But brand new, like re-factory stamped, and they're garbage, so don't buy them. But anyway, I found this one. The driver's side seemed to fit up okay. It's I'm having some issues up here at getting this body line right with the driver's side, but I think I'm just gonna ting it in there and maybe put a little filler in there and get that shape back right. This one I got out of Reimer Motors here in North Carolina, and it come off pretty much a rust-free truck, and it fits on there like a glove. So I'm extremely happy with this one. It was a different trim package, so there's some holes and stuff down in here that I'm gonna have to address and just weld. But I'm gonna try to figure out some kind of trick where I can stick something in there with this fender mounted. I mounted both of these fenders so I could set these doors and get the all the body lines right, because there's no way that, I'm sure somebody that knew exactly how to do it could do it, but there's no way I can paint these fenders off the truck and get them back on the truck and get all the body lines right without tearing something up and scratching something up. So I'm just gonna paint the fenders on the truck. But anyway, I'm gonna work on some body work on these fenders this morning, and see if I can't get them ready to prime. The door looks pretty good. It's not laser straight or nothing, but I'm gonna be throwing stuff in and out of this truck, and I'm not, completely worried about, everything being perfect on it. But anyway, that's where we at, and maybe I'll get some video of filling them holes in. So this is the old body pins where they had some trim on this truck. So I just go along and take a slap wheel, knock them down. There's some down here But one thing right here is we got this hole, so that's where there was a bolt going through that body trim. Sorry about that. There was a bolt coming through this body trim, and they had something on there on the back side to hold it. But anyway, I'm gonna try to, this is something you're gonna run into anytime you got some panels you took off of something from the junkyard or whatever. Anything that's got a different trim package, especially on these old Dodge trucks, is gonna have something going on. But if you can see inside of here, I mean, that panel's pretty thin. And I've been welding for probably 10 years, and I don't weld every day or anything, but I did learn to stick weld first. This is a Miller-Matic little 210 that I have, that a good friend of mine, Kelly Durham, gave me. He actually built this shop, so if you're in North Carolina and you need a big shop built, he's the guy to call for sure. But anyway, we're gonna cut this welder on, and I'll show you how I kind of fill this in. Normally, if I had an opportunity and I could get back here, I would hold a piece of sheet metal against this to fill it in and make it easier for me. But I can't get back here with nothing. So this is all boxed in behind it. So I'm just gonna try it. I can see a little bit of metal. It's hard to see in the video. There's a little shadow right there. There's another metal tab back there. So I'm gonna try to get on out with the welder and see if I can't fill this hole in, and I'll show you how I fill these in, and then we'll end up skimming out with Bondo. But you can't just pack Bondo or nothing in there, because it'll fall out. I mean, you can't, by the time you sand it, it'll be so thin up here you'll never get it to stay there. And when you paint the truck and you're vibrating down the road or whatever and hit a pothole, it'll knock out and make you beat your brains out. So anyway, we're gonna flip this welder on, and I'll see if I can't get this filled in. So I'll try to show you without flipping this camera around, because I don't know how to do it with this phone. So you got to be like real gentle with a sheet metal, and pretty much as soon as you see the metal heat up when you start welding it, you need to let off of it. So I got that welder turned all the way down. I'm running like 035 wire on it, and we got a gas bottle hookup, so we're just doing a little bit at a time. So that hole was about the size of an eraser. So I've filled that hole with weld. I don't need to make it. I mean, I'm not laying beads. I'm just trying to fill all that material back in. So I've gotten that filled up, and we'll take a slap disc and I'll cut this welder off. We'll take a slap disc and go ahead and get that back down to bare metal, and I'll show you what it looks like. I mean, that weld's filled in there, so I think we'll be all right. But like I said, I mean, you can't just put filler or nothing in there, because it'll never act right. Let's see how, anyway, that's the best you're gonna get. So let's see if I can get this out of here. Sorry about this, fellas. I don't have nobody to hold my camera or darn nothing fancy. So that's the hole. So that hole I could have stuck the end of my pinky in it, but it's filled now. You can't hardly tell I was in there. Just looks like you scraped a little bit of paint off. So we're ready to start sanding everything with 80 grit. And then when we get it all sanded, we're going to skim this with some filler. Skim all these up here with some filler, and we'll be good to go. I think I'm going to leave all these right here because there's an emblem that goes right there. Why they got a hole, I guess they were line-up holes to begin with, but I don't think the emblems you pull off even got pins on them, so I'm not sure why they're there, but we're going to cover that back up with something. And I'm not really sure what emblems I'm going to end up putting on this truck, so we'll just see what we come up with. So we got these kind of blended out a little bit right in here. I mean, they're in enough. I just really want to scuff this thing up, so I don't need to go to bare metal everywhere. But I found another hole up here, so I guess there was a bolt or something that was hiding in the paint when I pulled this trim off, and it just rode all the way here. So we're gonna go ahead and weld that one up too, and then I'll come over here. And this is that new fender. This is the fitment issue I'm having. I mean, it came damaged anyway. This isn't right. I mean, that should be closer to the door right there. I had to trim down here and do a bunch of, fooling around. I accidentally scuffed my door up when I was trying to test fit everything, so I'll go back and touch that up. But I'm gonna sand this one too. Luckily this one don't have no holes in it, so this will be an easy peasy job on this side. This hole right here I can get to, so well, when I find it, there it is. You can see my finger there. So I am gonna cut a piece of sheet metal and put behind this one and tack it in there, just so it's easier for me. And I don't got a pile of sheet metal just laying around, so what I'm gonna do is I scuffed up a piece of this inner panel right here, and I'll just rob some material off of that to put in there, because all I need to do is just give me some kind of back, and as soon as I tack it in there, that's it. I'll tack it in there and I'll tack all the way around, grind it, and the rest will be body filler. So there's our little piece. And I just robbed it off that panel. So I'm gonna stick it in here. Like, I mean, this is the way I do it. You do it the way you want to do it. It's just easier for me. And I mean, I don't have 100,000 hours to spend on the truck, so I'll weld something up and go on. I'll switch back to a slap wheel. Ready for some filler right there. Alright, so I got the doors back off, fit the hood, put the hood springs back on, got this fender half sanded a little bit, put the fender wells back in, hooked everything up in the fender well, put a I don't know how to zoom with this. Oh, I put a Hungry diesel lift pump on here, so it's a high volume, low pressure lift pump. Because a lot of times when you do some work to these pumps, I mean, they'll run good, but it'll run out of fuel at high RPM. So you can get on the highway and rip down the highway, and then you will, if you just keep a high RPM and then take off some more, it's gonna run itself to zero fuel pressure. So anyway, I got that on, and that's it for today. We're about to shut up shop, and this weekend I'm gonna try to paint the cab inside and out. Got a primer, the rest of the stuff, I mean the inside of the cab's done in the cab, but these fenders, and we're gonna try to paint everything, so other than the bed. So here we go. So I just finished wiping the truck down. I wiped it down last night. We got a primer, got a wet sanded, and I kind of looked over everything. I can't find nothing I need to fix, so We're gonna go ahead and spray it this morning. I'm gonna cut the camera off for a little bit because I'm gonna heat the shop up some with these blower heaters and get my material a little warmed up too, because I'm shooting Nason, but it's been sitting in here all night, so it's about 35 degrees here in North Carolina, so we're gonna try to heat up a little bit. I got everything laid out, so as soon as I heat up, then I'll cut the camera back on and we'll go ahead and do some painting. Alright, so we're all set up. I got some paint in the gun. We're about to shoot a little bit of this. That's the second coat. We're gonna let that tack up a little bit. That gun's shooting just a little bit funny. It's a little bit splattery, almost like the paint's not thin enough, but as soon as it starts tacking up, it lays down. So that's kind of what we want. That'd be the second coat. We're gonna go to the third coat, and then we're gonna shut it down for a minute. Let that tack up where I can touch it. And then we're gonna swap the clear coat. And I'm gonna try to do 3 coats of clear as long as I got enough clear left for that. But I gotta do the front up there on the roof one more time. So I'm gonna have to crawl up in the engine bay again. But this ought to be our last coat, so then we'll be swapping the clear. We're just gonna let that tack up for a minute. That's everything. I'm gonna let that third coat tack up, and I got just enough left in the gun. I only did 2 coats inside, so I'm gonna put 1 more coat inside, and then we'll be swapping the clear coat. We're just gonna we'll let it tack up a little bit longer. How I'm doing this is I got a big shop fan right there running. And then I take my other bay door and I got it cracked open at the bottom. Now yesterday I washed this floor out and washed all the dust out and squeegeed it out. Some people like to wet the floor. I mean, that paint's laying down really good, so I'm happy with, it's got to have something to do with the humidity and stuff because it's raining outside today. That's kind of cool. But I'm happy with it so far. Let's see if we can get 1 more coat inside without scraping the hose on the side of the door. think I'm gonna coat these two front fenders one more time. I just get nervous because I'm working on a vertical plane and I don't want to get no runs in it. But the last coat you want to kind of put on thick anyway, but I'm just trying to avoid them runs if I can help it. So far I got 0, so. But I'm gonna have to put one more coat on them fenders, I think. Everything else looks pretty good. I just got enough for the front fenders in the gun. That's all my paint. So I'm just gonna leave the inside how it is. I got 2 good coats on the inside, and honestly it's not gonna be in the sun or nothing, so I'm happy with that. And if something comes up, I mean, I can buy this, I can buy the exact color match Rust-Oleum, so like from Lowe's or whatever, and I'll just, I can touch something up with a brush or do whatever. Like I said, I'll be throwing stuff in and out of this truck, and it's not gonna sit in a shop and be covered up by rags and stuff, so I'm not too concerned about it. I want it to look good. I mean, some people's like, it looks good 25 feet away. You know, I want it at least 10 feet. Come on now. We can do a little better than 25. I hope. It's tacked up. I'm going to put another little coat on these fenders. All right, I'm gonna slow everything down and I'm gonna clean this gun up and I'll swap the clear. I'll see y'all. So real quick before I get cleaning this gun out, I mean that paint, it just laid down pretty good. It's not gonna be glossy right now. This is a base, so we just want the color right now. So it's laying down. I mean, it's got a little bit of orange peel in it, but it's not. It ain't too crazy. Got everything inside the same color. I just wasted my paint back in there, kind of both sides, because I didn't really have that too good. So I think it laid down pretty good. I got one little piece of trash in it up here. Right. It's hard to even see it. Right there. I don't know what it is, but it's about to be in there forever. So I got my gun pretty cleaned out. I just wipe it out. This is a gun I bought from Bradley's Auto Supply in Concord, and it's I don't know what it is, but it's a good gun. And over here I got the Bad Chad Special. This is what I painted the hood and stuff with. So I mean, you don't need nothing super fancy. Just take your time and make it work. So that's about tacked up. We're gonna throw some clear on. Alright, so I got 2 coats of clear on it, and I'm gonna do my 3rd and final coat of clear. I didn't want to make y'all watch me spray all that clear, because it's gonna take like another 30 minutes. So anyway, this is gonna be the last coat of clear, so I'm gonna try to lay it on as thick as I can without running. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna clean the gun out and just let that set. That's 3 coats base, 3 coats clear. So it's pretty covered. I only did 2 coats base and 2 coats clear on the inside because I didn't want to tear nothing up getting in and out. But I think it turned out all right. See the orange peel in it. I mean, it's not really, you could wet sand and buff this thing out if you wanted to. It's really not that bad. I had a little bit of coverage issues up here on the roof, but let's get up here. I'll show you. There's a little buggy right there. I mean, he's gonna be in there. Had this light over here helping me for this fender, but this door jamb, I mean, all the door jambs turned out pretty good. I think it's pretty slick looking. I don't got no buggies up here, so I'm happy about that. I'm thinking about doing a pinstripe on this body line. So like I seen a black and green one that had a green stripe there, and I'm thinking about doing like maybe a brown one, because I'm gonna have my logo or something put on the door eventually. But I kind of want somebody to hand paint it, so I gotta find the right person. Anyway, we're gonna let this all this stuff dry. And we're gonna end up putting her back together. But there it is. It's nice to see it all in one color. Alright, we're back in the shop today. Got some stuff done, put back together. Starting to put some cab lights on. New headlights. These are Grote headlights, and I really like them a lot. I mean, all the aftermarket ones are they just look corny. So this is all low beams up top, and then you flip the high beams on. It's all LED down here, LED tops. Got the side mirrors back on, clearance lights. Let's see here. Got the interior in, new carpet. It's a little dirty right now. We've been drilling and stuff. Let's see if I can back this up. There we go. Got a new boot in here, painted, new hardware. What else? That's about it. So been working on that. Still got to find a back glass. I think I'm gonna end up having to pull one out of a junkyard. I got some Skyjacker springs right here that are going on it. These are 4-inch lift soft rides, so we're gonna run them in the front. I was thinking about doing 4-link up front, but I'd like to get this truck done this year, so for right now we're going to run some 4-inch Skyjackers up front. Got new bushings to put in them. We're going to try to swing them in there this morning. Got the other one unbolted. Found a little surprise. The leaf spring bolt. I mean, I took the top plate off and it's literally come out with it and just flopped over, so we're going to remedy all that. I'll get a video when I get these springs on. I might throw some wheels and tires on it. Not the ones that are going to go on it, but just to kind of show you at least how it's going to sit with 33s. I think I'm going to run 33, probably 33 1450s on here. So I'll let you know how that turns out here in a little bit.